husband, answering comments and talking about what comments people said under her posts and all that stuff. So I was like, when they gonna get to the pattern interruption? What is
Right. Oh goodness, good evening. It's another Friday night. We are here rocking it out to have a good conversation with you all. As you see Daryl running to the screen, he got some illegalities in front of him, but we're not gonna talk about
right?
those.
Snitches, I'll tell you.
We snitches, I know, right? In these internet streets. I ain't even see it. Doc saw it. She was like, wait a minute, the real conversation is.
Evil eye Doc over here.
I had to call it out because that is my weakness.
Oh,
Pretty much.
So I can see that from a mile away.
Like no matter what is going on in life, right?
That's right. If I hear the bag, I'm like,
like where's that? What kind is it?
yes. Yes.
So happy
I've been
Friday.
warned by my dentist.
Oh gosh. I'm like, that's the last thing I got to do to get out my diet, and I think I'll probably be all right.
I'll
be all right. So it's a Friday. It's Sip and Chat Friday. Woo woo. How you doing, Doc?
I'm okay. This week is a whole lot better. Had a lot of progress with that other issue.
You had two of them, yes.
Yes. So this week was a whole lot better, and I'm feeling good today.
Okay,
yeah.
With the curly hair.
Yay!
got the wet and wavy going.
Yeah, that's got something going on with the naturalista. Daryl, how you rocking out this week?
I'm good. Good. Another week went by fast. Can't complain.
We had a long weekend, so it was a short week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's now they all the same.
Did you guys do anything special on the 4th?
The 4th of July?
The long week. Yeah, the long week. Because you had that day off. That's why I'm saying the 4th.
I think I have every day off.
We know you think you have every day off. Sure. Yeah. And still expect the automatic deposit. Like you like, I got every day off. And where's my deposit at?
Right. If I didn't get my deposit, I'd be like, what?
Like what happened? Y'all messed up my my invoice. What's going on? No, I didn't do anything special to answer your. I'm worked out.
Okay. That's special.
Okay. That is
the kangaroo John.
The kangaroo John.
I want to try that.
Well, we're coming to West Philly on Monday. We're starting a new class.
Really?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes. Would you like me to send you information?
Yes, please.
Okay. Rearrange your plans.
Is it outside?
Yes.
I have to double check. I'm not sure if it's outside or not. Let me look.
Philly outside.
We outside.
We don't do Philly outside.
I know what you're saying. Yes. You might be out there exercising to catch something you wasn't looking for.
It's inside.
Hard to run in kangaroo shoes.
And it actually is kangaroo. I'm not supposed to say kangaroo. It's kangaroo boots.
Okay.
It's inside at
it's difficult to kangaroo away. You got to kangaroo away.
Talk about a real workout.
It is a real workout.
Jeez.
You be fine. It's at 59th and Chestnut. So I'm not sure what's there, if that's a rec center or not. Anywho,
okay.
We coming to West Philly.
Okay.
Yes. So that adds a third day into my workout, so I'm so excited. Because I was about to go back to Shawnee.
Okay. Yes.
I was about to go back.
Next level.
Yes. Because they're closer to me now.
Okay. Yeah, they have their own studio.
Yes.
Next level personal training.
To kill you, like Daryl does. Mm-hmm. They do it with a smile, just like he does.
Yeah.
With their little bodies. I'm like, okay, that's okay. I'm gonna get snatched. Watch, snatched.
Okay. All right.
So our conversation flow for this evening after we talk about so that's what I did. I worked out on the fort. Did y'all do anything?
I hung out with family. That's all. I
Okay.
got out of the
Philly.
city. Yeah, got out of city and was able to sit outside and and enjoy
And
the
listen
weather.
to cricket.
And yes, yes.
It wasn't a lot of fireworks.
There were fireworks, but they were as they supposed to be,
Right.
contained
Not all
and
night
only for
long.
a short period of time. Yes,
Right. So
yes,
you got away from the fireworks and the plastic.
yes, yes.
Okay, with the plastic, I'm going to the conversation for the evening. The conversation for the evening is not the plastic. It is pattern interruptions in relationships and kind of looking at how your past experiences can impact your current relationships. So, pattern interruptions. This has been something that I've been talking about kind of in a lot of couple different spaces in which I've existed over the past couple weeks, and I thought that it would be helpful to talk about it in this space as well. Because if we interrupt some patterns, we can have some healthy boundaries and more consistent, beneficial, mutually meaningful relationships with others. So, what's your thoughts so far, Doc, on pattern interruptions?
Well, I was gonna ask, like, let's tell the people what we mean by that.
Okay,
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 Mary.
okay. So, from a general standpoint, before we get into relationships, and I'm looking for something before we get into relationships, is that so you could be at a meeting
Hmm.
and somebody could say, "Well, yeah, everybody share your information." And somebody that in our space, it probably would be Daryl that would do the pattern interruption. Because I will say something about like, okay, so tell me something good about your day. I don't know if that's a good example, but say something about good about your day. And Doc, you would give me a great example about your day. I would share something good about my day. He would interrupt the entire pattern and say, well, my whole entire weekend was great because I'm great and I'm just a tall, slim chocolate. Like, you know,
If that
all of
don't
this.
sound like him,
Not one bit.
That don't sound like him. I was trying to just share an example of what could be a funny pattern interruption. So what would sound like you, Daryl, in that instance?
Um. So. I, hmm.
Because it's basically
I,
like
well,
it's an expectation that's given, and then instead of following the rules, or you want to be highlighted in a different way, you share the highlight in a different way.
well, I think that's why I was trying to look it up when I saw what we were discussing because I wasn't familiar with the term.
Oh yeah, I didn't send the
so
memo. I'm sorry.
all
No,
right,
it's fine.
so
It's okay. Quite all right.
go ahead.
So when I looked it up, it said pattern interruption is a way to alter a person's mental, emotional, or behavioral state to
Yes,
break their typical habits.
yes.
Think of it as an unexpected act that jolts them into another state of mind.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Hmm.
I didn't. Most of the things I saw, it was based around sales. A
Okay.
salesperson, right? That's
Okay.
what mostly came up as I looked into it. So I really couldn't. Then I got something. It got into something with NLP, which I'm not really sure what that is.
Neuro linguistic programming.
That's what it said. I didn't know what that is. It said exactly what you said, Doc. But it seems like it could work for both, or like I said, many different I guess in many different ways it could be used. I don't know. So I'm here to learn. I'm learning today.
I'm sure you'll be
Okay.
able to jump in. I'm sure.
Yes. So
Um, Go ahead.
I was going to say, so in therapy, we talk about pattern interruption as finding ways to break people out of their normal, I'll say normal, but their ways of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's unwanted behavior that somebody wants to change,
Mm-hmm.
or it's a way that they respond to things. And as we all know, that sometimes you can respond to things unconsciously because this is how you've been doing it your
Mm-hmm.
whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So with pattern interruption, we want you to become very conscious of the way that you do things and respond to things. And to do that, you have to be aware of the pattern that you're exhibiting so that it's no longer unconscious.
Correct.
So you put something in there. Once you become aware of that pattern, you put something in there to stop it each time, so that that becomes the new way of doing things. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense to
Okay.
me.
Absolutely.
I was
Absolutely.
like, okay, I don't know about Daryl. To me, it does.
Okay. Mm.
Um, and usually to do that, people are so wedded to what they've been comfortable in doing
Yep.
that they seem like they are violating the process or violating what they know to be a fact or what they know to be comfortable, what they know to be the expectation of what they're supposed to do. And if they're interrupting it or doing something opposite of what's expected, then a loyalty is impacted.
Right. Right. Yes. And when you're trying to make these changes, that's when you run into the problems of cognitive dissonance.
That's a big word, Doc.
That's
You
when
use all your psychologist terms today.
that's
We in a
when your
in a full.
your beliefs or thoughts are not aligned with how you're doing things. So as you're changing how you think to behave differently, you go through a period of that. Because and it may even be that you don't believe that this new way of doing things is the right way for you. So there's a conflict as you're trying to learn the new way, because as Mary said, the other way is the way you've been doing it, and you think, you know, that it's been working for you.
You think.
Right.
You
Right. Right.
think, yes, you think it's been working for you. But you can see oftentimes in your relationships where it's not really working for you.
Correct. Correct. And it's like it gives you like assumptions of of the ways that you felt was the right way, where it's an opinion that you try to make a decision instantly, but it kind of pushes you to like your go-to response, and your
Hmm.
go-to response could be in a people pleasing aspect
Hmm. Hmm.
versus really what it is that you would want to do. And
Right.
because maybe in the past your ideas have been minimalized or belittled or told that they weren't valued, then you're like, okay, I don't want them to feel uncomfortable, but I still want to share my voice. I still want to share my thoughts. But interrupting it, then now you're going to be pulled to the carpet to explain yourself.
Hmm. Yeah. Why are you changing?
Why you changing?
We good for asking
You acting
somebody that.
new. You over
Yes,
acting new.
acting
Why you
new.
acting all
Yeah.
new?
Why
You
you
acting all
acting all
new.
new? You went and started working with them people, whoever those people
Hmm.
are.
Yes.
Now you acting new, or you got your degree, or you got your new car. You can't come around the block no more. You're not acting new, but you are leveling up. Like you are becoming a different person. Your circle, your words, it it's not acting new. It's just I'm broadening my horizons.
Mm-hmm. Or
Or
I'm
or it's
growing.
act or it's acting new.
Well, that's what the people gonna
That's
say.
what the people gonna say.
You think you better than us.
Like we was here to support you when you was before you became all of this and that, whatever this and that is. And it's like you have to also realize that that interruption of whatever pattern and people how they see you has to look differently because you have different toolkit that you didn't have before. And
Mm-hmm.
to activate that, either you have to choose to not align yourself with those previous associates, or figure out, what part of you can you be authentic when you're in the presence of those individuals. And that causes you to say, okay, where do I value most? Because if I'm constantly activating where I have to interrupt a pattern, that's causing you to over function and over, kind of play yourself down so that nobody else is like uncomfortable.
Right. Hey, it just brings to mind, different family members of couples or people that I've done therapy with, and how when people start making changes, there's always that pushback from the people around them. Like Daryl said, now you're getting new. They don't see it as you're growing. You're trying to be a better person. You're trying to do something that or that you found out is healthier for you. But when people are not used to that for themselves, they want to keep you, right where you are. So you also, as you're trying to interrupt patterns, you also have to be working on building yourself up so that you have the assertiveness, the self-esteem to stand firm as you're making these changes.
The thing that I thought about goes to food, or could go to exercise as well, but to food. And sometimes you'll get shamed if you are eating different or you have smaller portions than what you had before. I actually wasn't gonna go there, but that's a shame. Terrible. My crew, they just automatically assumed that I was about to call somebody out for having
we saw where we were going.
Cheddar popcorn. I really wasn't going there. I was thinking about how when you at a cookout, especially since people were at cookouts this week, and if they're on this shift of interrupting them overeating or eating the wrong things, and they're still trying to be present at the cookout, but now they want to eat only the salad, or they want to eat smaller portions and only eat what's necessary, then they get shamed at doing such, and so they end up defaulting to what's going to make the comments stop. Okay, let me go get another plate. See, that's where I was going, y'all.
Okay.
Sure, that's where you're going now.
But that is so true. Like, why are you eating like a bird?
Right. Which minimizes your recognizing that, okay, our family doesn't do well with eating red dyes or greasy foods or something like that, and I would like to live a little bit better, or die with my limbs as opposed to having limbs, toes, and stuff just fall off just because I've eaten the wrong things because of not choosing to do something different. I wasn't going to the cheddar.
Right. And in that example, when you recognize that you are going to go get that plate because everyone else said you're not eating the way you usually eat, then that's where you do the interruption.
That's where you do the interruption. Because you have already you've already eaten what you really needed to satisfy your body's makeup. But the bullying, the intimidation, the audience, the doing what is not being interrupting, you're like, okay, well, I guess I could eat some more, but you're not even hungry. You're just going to do it just because.
Yes. And I think I like that example. Because what could be an interruption for somebody where they also don't hear the bullying? Is there a way to do it?
Wait, say that again, that they don't get a plate?
Yeah, if they decide to do an interruption there, what could they do instead? Where they won't hear the bullying, or do they just go with the bullying and fight back? Like,
or they bring their own cooler with the wheels on it and have their own snacks and so forth and don't eat any other food? That's going to cause a disruption.
Of course.
You go make a plate and fill it up nice and big and then throw it away.
That's a good interruption.
That is a good interruption.
I told you. Hey, I told you I was full. Told you I was good.
But why you have to throw it away? Why you can't wrap it up and take it later? You know you're gonna need it for the rest of the week to eat these bad choices.
Listen, I got to interrupt their interruption.
Correct.
Okay. Dare say he's gonna make a statement.
I'm sending them this ain't about me, it's about them.
Mm-hmm.
And the plate gonna be full. They be like, I knew he was hungry. He threw it in the trash.
We ain't never inviting him over again. He out here throwing food in the trash.
Hey,
Don't he know I'm Mabel stood in that kitchen all night long making that good potato salad.
Hey, once I decided to throw the plate away, I wasn't coming back anyway.
Just gonna drop the glass while you mad at the glass. You like twisting it, and I'm like, okay, we know it's only pink lemonade in there, but maybe plastic.
Not. It's finest plastic out there.
It looks like glass.
It looks like glass.
Finest plastic on this side on the East Coast. See how I sip it too, like it's something.
How do you even know how to sip?
I don't know. We see people. I see people.
I know he's seen it.
Right. People have modeled it for me.
They
model. And this would be my interruption. I put a little juice in the cup and I really sip it on it like I'm drinking because I don't drink. So this is my. You make that face like that. That's when you gotta do that with it. That's when it.
That's when it gets you real good. So on another side of a pattern interruption, sometimes when people have experienced some level of trauma in their lives and that the trauma is being repeated and rehearsed or whatever, that's usually the most difficult thing to kind of interrupt, because if it was like sexual assault or if it was verbal assault where people are constantly talking about them and their self-esteem is now reshaped to be altered, if you will, they're struggling or trying to figure out a way to stand in their voice differently. But if you're around the people who continue to have that negative view of you or that view that you're trying to break up with, it becomes very challenging. It becomes very, very challenging. And the fear of what you think that you're going to lose becomes more important to you than, not always more important to you, but it can become a competing agenda. Do I really want to break this cycle? Or is it okay when they call me my childhood nickname that I no longer like?
Yeah. Yeah, because they're fighting to keep you where you are.
They have benefits for you to stay where you are.
Yes.
You'll still go to do whatever beyond your time frame. If you say you only got an hour, they be like, oh yeah, they always say they only got an hour. We're gonna keep them here for 3 hours. But then you're beating yourself up because you stayed longer than the time that you put the boundary for, at least in your mind and in your plans. But now that you stayed longer, you are now self-defeating on the inside, but trying to people please on the outside.
Yes. And in those situations, I do like to talk with people and dig deeper into what is they think they're losing if they walk away. Because oftentimes the list is not as long as the benefits of getting out. They just haven't looked at.
Right. Or they're so like dug into being comfortable, like it's at the root of who they are. They're like, okay, but I've always done this, so like maybe I'm the one that's tripping because I want to do something different, and maybe everybody else is right because everybody's saying the same thing.
But if that, if that became your role in the family as the one to get kicked, yeah, everybody's going to do it. Doesn't mean it's right.
Right.
Doesn't mean you shouldn't try to interrupt those patterns and make a change for yourself because you know how it makes you feel.
But if you've always felt the way that you feel, do you really know how to feel different than that?
No, you don't. but
So you know you need help.
feeling bad versus feeling good, even though you're stuck in feeling bad.
Right.
You just chalk it like, all right, this is what I'm used to. This is
Mm-hmm.
how it is. This is how it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Until somebody like me or Mary comes along,
Right.
tells you, hey, yo, whoa, no, that's not cool.
That's not cool.
It does not have to be that way.
Correct. Correct. It makes me think about a couple that I'm working with where the husband is not often home because of the way his work schedule is, but he was home and went to the child's recreation play, is what I'm going to call it. And so because they're not accustomed to seeing him, and when he's the mom is usually there, she usually sits close to the pool and kind of gives sideline directions to help the daughter stay focused in the water. He has a thing about women sitting on the ground, and his reaction to her sitting on the ground, he's a tall black man with locks, so there's that perception of him being a tall black man with locks, and he is with tone in his voice directing his wife to get up off the ground with some sternness because we don't sit on the ground. But she's done that all the times when he wasn't present. So people at the recreation place is like, okay, well, what's the problem?
Right.
So then the question comes when the wife goes to the rec center the next time is she in a safe situation? Is her relationship experiencing any domestic violence or anything like that? And that doesn't exist in their relationship. However, the makeup that they have of her husband is now he's talking to her a certain type of way. And she's like, we got to interrupt that pattern of the perception that they have, one, of him being a black man with locks. Like that, she feels that feeds into it because of the neighborhood that they live in. But like, so that is a part of it. And then the way that he spoke to her, it wasn't really, she said she didn't feel it was really aggressive, but she can see where they see it that way.
Or
So
was it
how did she interrupt that for them?
talking to her like that?
Huh?
I said, or was it aggressive and she's just used to him talking to her like that?
Possible.
Or did he have locks and he was a black man and perceived to be something he wasn't?
Right.
And we know how that is, right? Perception becomes reality, and you see something and you automatically were thinking something when you saw that person. So independent of how he said it, they could interpret it a certain way.
Correct. Correct.
So now how does she interrupt that for someone else?
So that, like, understanding and confirming that, okay, one, I am safe, and why would that be the first thought that you thought of because of him asking me to get up off the ground? Like, why him giving me a statement? Yes, his tone of voice may have been deep, but he also carries a deep voice that you're not accustomed to because you don't see him often. So his deep voice is what led you to automatically go that, am I safe at home?
Did he say, yo, B, get up off the ground?
No, he didn't say, yo, B, get up off the ground.
Well, they said they see him most nights on the news doing something illegal.
Yes.
Correct.
Or did he say, hey, babe, don't sit on the ground?
He probably was like, hey, babe, like, for real, you on the ground? Like, get up off the ground. But he's normally not.
And then her response probably too, by just getting up, maybe not. They probably maybe wanted her to say something back. Maybe that was like, wow, she don't even have a voice. Right? She just got up.
Possibly. I mean, it's a whole bunch of things, but like those pattern interruptions, like there's an assumption, one, he's not always present. Right. Then when he is present, he's this tall black man with locks. There's that. And then something that she's always done by sitting next to the pool and coaching their daughter, he's asking her to not do it in that way. Like, they're like, okay, but this is how it always is. So it's a couple places of interruption of pattern that you could do, but it also takes people's assumptions of character, because Daryl, you said they see him on the news each night allegedly,
Right.
but he's a six-figure earner person by day.
That doesn't matter.
It
But
doesn't.
it still, I still want I would still want to know if he speaks to her in an aggressive way and she's just desensitized.
She said no.
I'm curious. I'm curious because we're talking about pattern interruption. If he usually speaks to her in an aggressive way and she just goes along with it, then there's an opportunity for pattern interruption.
It could be an opportunity. I mean, we just use this as a case study.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. There could be other pattern interruptions that could exist to kind of self-correct or self-bring awareness to how you can interrupt what that can, not necessarily what that could look like, but also what that could feel like. For me, receiving the message with your intonation and your redirecting what it is that I'm doing.
Now, how did she feel about it? That's what I want to know. Like, was she embarrassed? What was her feeling of this interaction?
Her feeling to me, because we're on individual for the couple situation, her individual to me was, okay, how can I bring it to his attention of what the perception was to other people? But then I also didn't like the tone of voice out in front of people.
Okay.
Oh, so he did have a tone.
He had a tone, but
so she felt some way about it too.
She did.
Okay.
Doc, you uncover something. You're on to something, Doc. You're good. You're
right,
good.
But I mean, if I was even to say what the uncovering really is, I mean, what we've talked about before is she is the aggressor. So in the household, she is the aggressor. He's not the aggressor. He will leave when she becomes.
Well, he the aggressor by the pool. That's all we know.
Right. So he's gonna get aggressive out in public. Yeah. Right. Come on, man.
Where he's safe. You ain't gonna hit me out here.
Right. Yeah.
Oh gosh. I swear. I'm not bringing no more cases up.
Right,
Daryl. He gonna try to get aggressive in public.
Like, hey, get up off the ground. You heard what I said. You know I was playing. You know I was playing. All right,
I'm gonna get up, but you just wait till we get home.
Wait till we get home, right? Y'all not right. Y'all not right at all.
So the conversation like, hey babe, they thought you were the problem at home. They thought it was you.
Right.
Right. That part.
Woo! Very interesting.
That was.
So how would she address that with him to help interrupt that?
I think the thing that I suggested was
you gonna tell him the next time you get smart with me in public, I'm gonna punch you in your eye.
3 o'clock watch.
Watch it back.
Yeah, she like this.
So in the pattern interruption, not going to go directly into what the outcome that other people saw, but start with how she felt.
Okay.
And in the separate conversation, or if she feels like it could flow in that conversation, after understanding how she felt and him understanding how she felt with that, the way that went, to then say what the perception of other people could look like, when we're out. And it's not because I'm a doctor. It's not because of any of that. It's still like, let's not, like, we are solid. Like, we're building our foundation as a couple. Let's not have that energy communicated out.
Right. Yell at me in private like I do you.
I mean, when we in our position, like call my name, something.
Doc.
They got plenty of spaces for opportunity of pattern interruption.
They do. A lot of us do.
Yeah,
a lot of us do. Right. So it's like a matter of just realizing how small sometimes things can be, how the residue can sometimes linger on, and how you really want to move the needle to like move it to something that's going to help you have a better way to communicate, have a better way to understand what our relationship should look like in this particular capacity.
Yes, I
So
was speaking to
how?
someone. Okay, go ahead, Dan.
Thank you, Doc, for letting me get a word in tonight.
You said you was learning.
I'm trying to interrupt her pattern tonight. Now, so why?
You
why
already
did,
interrupted the pattern though before we came on.
I did. Look,
You did. I
how?
thought you was about to
Why
correct.
did she not feel that she could say anything to him to begin with? Like if she felt like he spoke to her in a certain way, what was going on that she didn't feel that she could just say, "Hey, I didn't really like the way you spoke to me."
There's some power dynamics that's existing in this particular couple because of he really doesn't care what crowds think. Did you sip on your tea?
Yes, he did, and made a face like he just had a
This stuff,
strong
A
shot.
strong shot.
hey, this stuff is strong.
He doesn't really care, so she doesn't want who actually said something to be unveiled.
Okay.
That's who she's protecting in the sense.
Okay.
Like she doesn't want who truly said something about his tone and what was said about her sitting on the ground to really be unveiled. She just wants the context of how it was done to be corrected or interrupted.
Okay.
But I mean, the feeling of she didn't like it. This is outside of whomever is setting things. She felt like I didn't like the way you talked to me. You know, why I couldn't. I wonder what was the barrier for her to say that to him or express it to him. She expressed it to you, like I need help to tell him why. What else is going on that's not permitting her, excuse me, to speak to him with something that I don't like how you talk to him.
Hey, Neil.
Hey, Ruth.
I'm not even paying attention. I'm not even gonna read it.
You're not okay. I was like, you're not gonna give her her love.
I'm not gonna read it. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that lady is. We have a new woman that just joined us tonight. We don't know who she is.
No, okay. All right, new woman. I think that to kind of peel back why it's difficult to kind of express that goes into probably a whole bunch of our show conversations. And a part of why as a couple, I'm seeing them individually right now to build their foundation as a couple.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the safest way to say that right now.
Okay.
Because sometimes to interrupt some patterns, you do have to take people and put them in different spaces, separate spaces, to actually hear what you can't hear when they're together.
Yeah, it's not uncommon.
It's not.
Some individual when you have couples. Yeah.
Tell that to my telehealth portal, but anyway. they like it's an error. It's an error. Oh God, please. So any other? I mean, we did fitness. Well, we didn't really do fitness. We did food part.
But I think it's more. We understand interruptions, right? But I mean, how do we? I guess, like you said, it's tough to interrupt the pattern, first of all, right? And especially when other things are usually going to pull you away from it. What can you do to help you be consistent so that it can take effect? So you're not scared off, like you said, instead of getting that plate and eating it because of the pressure that is put on you. What strategies can we use for you to remain strong enough to say, I'm not going to, fall into this pressure and go back into the old pattern. Let me do what I'm doing now.
You got to be able to identify one, like what's like, we don't often identify that we're the common denominator and why things are broken, not working to our advantage, that we're not communicating or advocating for ourselves in a consistent way. So once we recognize that the pattern actually exists, then it takes, peeling back the layers on how we want to show up differently. Are you raising your hand?
No.
I'm like, Doc, you can answer now.
So But we gotta recognize the pattern of like the behaviors, the things that we're doing like on a continual basis. I mean, and it becomes a routine. And because it's a routine of what you're doing, you don't really recognize it until like a third party or something dramatic kind of happens. And then do you take that honest inventory for your personal awareness that, okay, I need to do something different, but I don't know how. And I don't know what resource. Like
we started, right? We, like I said, we already are cutting our plate back because we don't want to lose our toes, right? So we're not eating as much. But when you get there, the person's like, girl, go have some cake. Wait, you gonna waste away, you don't eat cake. And you fall and you give in and you get to the cake or whatever the case may be. What are some strategies that can be used to help that interruption remain interrupted? Keep you in the place where you say, look, I don't want the cake. I say the cake. I ain't eating that cake anime. I ain't eating
it. I think it comes to determination and mindset.
Yes. And practice, just like with anything else. The pattern that you've created is something you've doing forever. Mm-hmm. So you have to practice the new way as diligently. You have to do it every single time, until you get to the point where you actually recognize when you're about to do your pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You know, at some point, you know, you start to recognize the situations where your pattern will be likely to come out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like the triggers for your pattern, you kind of start knowing this is a trigger that's going to, okay, let me book interruption.
If there's a cookout and you know that your family's going to be talking about how you eat at the cookout, then what is the behavior that you've put in place to derail that?
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So you walk into the cookout with your confidence and already know what you're gonna be doing with these people,
right.
Or even like when you say you want to show up to an event just to show your face, and you know that if you stay past a certain time that things are going to change and you don't really want to be in that environment, then either don't put yourself in that space where you're just showing up to show your face, like figure out another way that you can celebrate that person, or really be diligent on you're leaving, you're just going in to do a cameo and you're actually leaving right back out. Mm-hmm. And you're going to either say that you just came to show your face or say you got something else to do and you're really just going back home to kick it on your couch.
Mm-hmm.
It takes increments. Like it's not something that happens overnight. Like you have to really be diligent and do the practice part, because when you said cake, it made me think about this one dessert lady that would she would set up a vending table at different events. And yes, her cakes are delicious. And yes, you're dancing. So you're dancing it off, it's, as soon as not that kind of dancing, urban R&B line dancing. Let me be clear.
I'm saying you ain't dancing no cake off. So go ahead.
But it took the place of determination to say, I'm no longer going to eat her cake. Like, I already know that she's going to be there. So I'm not purchasing the cake. I am going to still enjoy my night of dancing and continue to, give her the hug and the greetings. I could do that, but I'm not buying any of your sweets because
she at the table singing, I know you want to bite it. It's so enticing. Right. There's nothing like it.
Y'all are out of pocket today. Like, what is happening?
Cake. That song just came to my mind when you talk about the big lady.
I was about to say, hey, I had as many times I had to say, I'm not going to eat her cake either. I'm with you, Mary. I had the same conversation. I'm not going to eat her cake.
Oh my God, Ruth, do you see what it is I'm dealing with up in here? Like, what is happening?
I was like, yo, Mary, we here. I had the same conversation. I ain't eating your cake. I can't eat her cake anymore.
Oh my gosh. Pattern interruption.
Oh man.
God. What?
Oh my gosh. Here we go, Roger.
All right, Raj. That's funny.
Oh my gosh. I'm so innocent on the cake thing, and y'all just took it all the way in.
Listen, I felt what you were saying.
You felt what y'all was saying. I'm
But
just trying to
you
give
know,
another example of how you could really have that determination. Like it's a mindset.
it is.
Right.
It is.
Okay.
But you know, like you said, the first step is recognizing the pattern, and a lot of times it's not even you.
Mhm.
Someone else points it out, like Mary said earlier, and you gotta be receptive to that too, depending on who it is. You know,
And if they're not receptive, then change your lane, change your people.
Mm-hmm.
Always blaming somebody else. That nice young man didn't know anything about cake, so Ruth brought it up. I'm just saying. He's a nice young man. I know.
That's a shame. He's still a nice young man.
He is. He's a very nice young man. It's Ruth. You know.
It's Ruth.
It's Ruth. Yeah.
I don't know. That's Doc's stiletto buddy.
But yeah, recognizing is the first step. You know,
right, and that's the toughest part.
Yes. It is, because it's painful to make change. You know, in certain things. You know, like it's painful when you realize it, because then it's like doing the work. It's like, I don't feel like doing all this work. This is tiring, and I'm just gonna keep doing what I was doing.
Right.
Well, it sounds like some of these patterns are patterns are created. Patterns are created at such a young age sometimes. You know, from what you see, what you learn, what you go through, and they're reinforced almost throughout your childhood, your young adulthood, and they're actually been practiced as adults.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to change something that you just feel it is what it is. This is what it is. This is normal. This is my normal.
Right.
And it's sometimes very difficult to see past what we feel is our normal, because we've been doing it for so long.
Yeah. And oftentimes when we're stressed or under pressure or going through something, we resort to what we know.
Oh yes, definitely revert back to what we know.
Even though it may be a behavior that you don't like in yourself, it's still comfortable.
Right. And that's so crazy. So then it really feels uncomfortable to break those bad habits.
Absolutely.
Which is why people go back to the bad habits. A lot of time it's really difficult to stand strong when this feels so awkward. But it's right, like I think Doc said earlier, where the new thing, the new pattern feels wrong, even though it's right.
Yes, for sure.
So,
you laughing at Mary?
Because of the other example that I have, but I don't want you to take this left. But yeah, yes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something else other than that, because I'm like, I don't want you to take it left.
We won't take it left.
You already will.
I promise. We won't take it left.
Yeah, with your fingers crossed. What's the other hand doing? I think, like, because we don't, the buzzword of trauma is hard for people to hear, especially now that it's a buzzword.
Yeah.
But if you begin to look at, you're always frustrated, easily angered, like all of those things, like what is it that's easily like disrupting your day or disrupting your mood? And what is it about it that does it? And it's so much that could be within the environment, like the food, the temperature, you hot, you dehydrated, like we don't really consider all of those things until you sit down and talk to somebody like Doc or myself that kind of points out like what all is happening when you experience anger, when you experience frustration, when you experience, wanting to change the way that you're eating or working out or something like that. And it's like, even when you invest and have somebody to point that out to you, it's about that mindset shift. Like it's really like you have to make a decision that you just really want to do something different, and that you honoring your body, your mind to do that unapologetically.
Right. I was thinking of someone who often responds to other people aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
And feels like this is a way of protecting themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But because this person wants to be in a loving, healthy relationship, it's not working. Because people get tired of you being aggressive and being mean to them because you have to protect yourself. So that pattern interruption would be, at first, probably slowly, when someone says something to you, you think about it first before you and ask yourself, is this person attacking me or is that me? Is this something going on internally, or is this person really trying to hurt me?
It's no more in there, Daryl.
I know. Somebody got to drive me home. I wasn't supposed to finish all that off.
We had to walk him upstairs.
Right. That's the danger zone, so they better be ready.
Right? Because we know he didn't interrupt his pattern.
Right?
Woo! Yeah. Try something new.
Shucks. Did you hear that sound, Doc?
Yeah. Listen.
Funny. So sometimes when you're starting off slowly and you're just realizing that there's a pattern that you're repeating, sometimes you have to take a beat before you respond or do something. You have to take a little bit of inventory sometimes,
right?
So that you don't go right into what you've always done,
right?
But that's hard.
It is. Okay, I was trying to type all of this. It ain't. It's not working. I mean, it is working, but it's like then it's gonna be like this long silence of me trying to look at the phone, type it. I'm gonna just say it. What you gonna say? So I was looking at the emotional behavior patterns, like as far as what they would look like, and it says habitual, and it made me think about it from what you were just saying. Habitual and defensive reactions to past events that are projected in the field of the present time.
Yes.
So that all that is happening is effectively repetitive, is limiting, and ultimately affirming the ego processes, which compromises a unique and individual pattern of manipulation.
That sounds about right.
Sounds about right. That sounds loaded though. Like you got manipulation, you got ego serving stuff going on.
Right.
And that is repetitive.
Yeah, all those things I was talking about with this person. Because it has to be addressed if this person ever wants to be in a healthy long-term relationship. Unless you come across someone who's in their pattern willing to be abused like that.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. And then it works until that person who's been abused so long decides that they want to interrupt that lifestyle for them. And then you're like, well, why? We've been doing this for so many years. Why you want to do something different? You acting new. There you go.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, you acting new.
Here you
this
go
is what we've been doing for 10 years.
Right.
Now somebody told you need therapy because you're being abused.
And the fact that they will guilt you into saying, well, it's the same way that my mom and my parents were Why does that have to be different for us? Well, that was like 40, 50 years ago. Like life is different now.
Yes. Yes.
Or I see that meme going around saying, we hood parents raising these children who's not built like us. Have you seen that meme going around?
Yeah.
I have not. I don't know what thread you're on, but we're not in that thread.
Really though. One of our viewers that sometimes pops in had shared it on their page. Like they got hood backgrounds and raising these different children, and the children are different than us.
Yeah, I got a setting on my Facebook to block nonsense. It blocks all nonsense. So I didn't get that. You
didn't get that one? Okay.
Nah, that didn't come through.
Okay. All right.
That sounds real stupid.
It does.
Right.
I'm gonna use the clinical term. That sounds real stupid.
Right. It was in Doc's timeline too, because somebody else shared it that we share timeline space with. So
okay, I didn't see it.
That's okay. You've been busy. I get it. You've been busy.
What the heck?
Yeah. And somebody wrote that and really thought they were saying something.
Multiple people are sharing it. That's the thing. Like, y'all think it's okay for multiple people to share that? That is a pattern that needs to be interrupted. Like,
absolutely,
you don't see the dysfunction in that.
Absolutely.
Or I used to get beat as a child, so children need to get beat. No, that didn't necessarily work. What you gonna say, Daryl?
No, I know you both were talking at the same time. So I was about to say one person, but y'all stopped at the same time.
No.
Like, don't you want? I would think you'd want better for your kids,
right? Instead of
not. Shouldn't each generation
but it goes back to not knowing what better is.
True.
When you're like, oh yeah, you're like, this worked for me, and look where I'm at. So sometimes, like you kind of said, our ignorance will allow us to stay where we're at. Because we don't know we need help, to ask for help because we think we're fine, or this is good as it gets.
Or we believe in that struggle love, or that sacrifice that we got to go through, and we might have to sacrifice some things, but it don't really have to be down to the bare minimum. It don't have to be down to the bare minimum. They want some pink lemonade too.
They do. But again, like I said, a lot of people just don't know that it's even struggle love until you know it's struggle love. I like right now, I'm a firm believer people don't know what they don't know until they find out they didn't know it, and they're like, oh, we didn't know it. They're running around, and until something wakes you up or hits you in the head to think, well, that was what I was doing was wrong, or this is not the correct way to do it. People are good. People are fine. They're like, we're fine in our ignorance. We're fine in our toxic relationships. This is the way it's supposed to be. Like, it is what it is.
And they don't
I think that's what we deal with mostly. I think that's what we're really dealing with, the ignorance of people to know what's healthy. Right? Unhealthy is really popular. Unhealthy is really normal.
It's easily accessible too.
Right.
It's
like bad food over healthy food. Yes.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, 4 wings fried rice, $5, 900 pounds in a week.
Fry hard.
You know what I mean? Fry hard. Wing fried hard. You know what I mean? Four wing fried rice. 4 wings.
Stop it. $5 buys you nothing at a. I guess you could get you something at like a farmer's market, but then you got to go find one of those to get some healthy food. Yeah.
But you can go to Wendy's drive-thru for $5 you can have a whole hookup.
5 for $5.
Right.
And Wendy's is gourmet for some of these people, right?
It's gourmet.
Because if you have 4 wings fried rice all the time, Wendy's is like, we got Wendy's tonight. Plain boiled. All
know
beef
about the fried
patties.
hard wings. Fries,
All beef
fries.
patties. I'm gonna get me a Frosty. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so it
Especially with the
definitely
strawberry Frosty. I keep hearing everybody rant and rave about this strawberry Frosty.
Yeah, I don't like
really,
nothing that tastes like strawberries.
I can't have it, so it don't matter.
I just don't like Wendy's has never been a thing for me. Like it's Wendy's. Like
The square burgers, you ain't like squares.
no. Weird. Wendy's is weird.
But then you like the fried wings? Salt, pepper, ketchup?
Oh, you born on it.
Salt, pepper, ketchup?
I mean, I had full wings fried rice since I was 6 months old.
Okay, so then again, on my timeline, I saw something. They made a chip. I think it was hers. Made a chip for Philly called salt, pepper, ketchup.
Ew. That's nasty.
They did. That's actually racist.
You said 6 months. I saw a baby on Instagram sucking on a chicken bone.
Oh yeah, we talked about that before. Like, hey, we ain't doing that.
You ain't doing that.
I ain't doing that. But people do feed. That's what they do. They feed the babies early. You know, baby 3 months old, and he needs some food. He hungry. No, he not. He should be.
You making him hungry.
Right. He's eating rice and beans, rice and chicken at 3 months. Then one of why kids are so big in in certain areas.
Right.
They eat this steroid injected food. Chicken that got three wings. I don't know what kind of chicken we're eating.
That could be a community interruption.
Right. But that it's no supermarkets and things of that nature. So a poor diet
is really supermarket.
That's it. There are none usually. So a poor diet is usually what you're going to have in some of these areas because that's what's accessible.
Right.
Right.
And then the poor diet feeds into your neurological brain that makes you have poor decision making and impulse control, and absolutely. people don't connect all of them pieces together.
I think people do, right? Some people do. The powers that be, and they keep it that way though, right? Because I mean, who wouldn't want a supermarket in that area? Who wouldn't want fresh fruit? It seems like that's something that you would think is a normal thought, like they would want fresh fruit or supermarkets and things of that nature. They don't. Yes.
Because the world revolves around Princess.
Of course.
So any other pattern interruptions?
I can't think of any others. I mean,
any other pattern interruptions?
Yeah, I just thought of one, but go ahead. The pattern interruption is that Sip and Chat is supposed to be on the move and visiting some outside places. That would be an interruption for us. That we're still live, but we coming live from somewhere else or at someone's address where they have a studio available for us. Not sure. I know it can only happen on certain weekends. Are they frozen in the smile space? But that would be a pattern interruption that we've talked about. You acted frozen?
Yes.
You see me smile and change?
I did. I was like, okay, is he acting frozen or is he frozen?
So, but again, I think the pattern interruptions, I mean, because obviously, this is really the edit. Let's go. Make sure you bring the pink lemonade.
And them bags you got that you keep rattling.
Somebody gonna have to drive me home.
Anyway.
A mess.
But I think more, I mean, so the interruption part kind of I get, right? Because you want to have, you have something, a way of doing something that could be perceived as wrong or not right or whatever, or you want to even change something. So you have to have something interrupt that behavior, right? Something to interrupt that behavior. but it's what are we using to interrupt that behavior, or how do we get to the point? And everything I read is like you have to go to a licensed professional. Like there wasn't, when I'm reading it, there wasn't nothing I really saw. They were like, you need help, go see somebody. They can help you with this. So it seemed but from when I read it, it seemed very difficult to do it on your own.
It can be.
Most changes are difficult to do on your own. I mean, like people need trainers, they need coaches, they need therapists, they need doctors. So, you know.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And you sometimes need to do that brainstorming session with someone to figure out what it is you can try. Because often, every time, it has to be something you haven't done before, because the other stuff that you've done didn't work.
Exactly. It got you back to the same pattern.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. So you sometimes do need to bounce that off of someone to figure out, what are some things I can try now. Like I'm working with someone who's trying to quit smoking, and it's become part of certain daily rituals for this person, like their daily walk. So we're looking at what are some other things you can do instead of lighting up at that first block. What kind of different activity can you put in place? And
so is it a replacement type therapy?
Yeah.
That's kind of
Yeah. Right. So he's going to interrupt the pattern and replace it with something else.
Gotcha. Okay.
And now we're talking. And now you have to be committed to what you're replacing it with.
Yes.
Tell me more.
So like when you do the replacement of the action, the behavior, or whatever that's going to do it differently, then it has to have value enough that you'll make that the default more than the thing that you're trying to interrupt, the default. Like your default option. Because at a certain point, if we do it from like a behavior mod standpoint, and you say to the person that they'll get whatever reward at the end, if that reward is no longer important to them, then they're no longer committed to doing the change behavior.
Right, it's not going to work.
So you have to change what the reward and the incentive is that's going to keep you motivated. And you might have to change up a couple times because it needs to be your default thing. And as soon as you recognize it is not your default thought process to do what's interrupting the pattern that we're working on, then you need to communicate that so that we can figure out what else we can put in that place. But Doc mentioned having a deep dive with somebody. That deep dive, hopefully you will come up with a couple different options to automatically know what that next thing to try would be.
Yes.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. I'm glad it's interesting.
And education.
And educational. I'm glad it's that too. So any uncovered territory?
I think we've covered it all. I mean,
right. I think because kind of what I'm getting from it. I want to make sure if there is a behavior, you want to interrupt that behavior with something. You need something to interrupt it with, right? You can't just say I'm gonna stop this behavior, because usually if you have nothing to interrupt it, you'll revert back to that behavior. And you should have, I guess, some accountability somewhere.
You should.
It helps you to stay on task if you're doing it with someone else, or people know, so you're not doing it by yourself. So somebody's going, hey, you still doing whatever the case may be. And then I then actually, like you said, prepare yourself. If you're going to the picnic, you should know that people are going to act a certain way.
The cookout.
Prepare yourself. Or the picnic, cookout, picnic, whatever you want. Again,
we're not picking a nigga. We just going to the cookout.
Oh my goodness. Oh my damn.
I mean,
interrupted. Look at that.
Interrupted. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Just kind of prepare for the situation, whatever you're doing. Like the smoker. If I know this is my trigger, then maybe I don't go there, or I go there with gum. So I have something else to do in place of it, right? And then hopefully that new what I'm interrupting it with, or whatever I'm doing, will take the place of me wanting that cigarette eventually. Okay. Everybody write that down out there. Everybody.
Whether you live or on a replay, yes, you write that down. You write that down.
Write that down. Because that's very important. Because I think everyone can use this, because I think we all have patterns or things we want to change or do differently, and we don't know how. We don't know how, and like, you know what? I think the biggest thing for me is the replacing it with something else. Right. I think
and replacing it with something that has a better value.
Better value. There we go. Keyword, better value. That's something I always miss. Even I think even in training, sometimes you're like, you eat it better, but you don't really put anything else in something better there for them. Like wheatgrass is really not better, and I'm not going to eat wheatgrass. It's not, certain things are not better. There you go.
I think that's our buddy Net.
Yeah, it's Net. Yeah, I looked.
Okay.
I had to look and check it out.
Right,
but,
right. Like,
okay,
who we talking to? Like, who we talking to?
Right. So replacing it with something else actually is positive. It's something you should do. Find something that you said of more value. Write it down.
And practice. You do it every single time.
Right.
Every time. So that this becomes your new way of living.
And then you could rinse and repeat. So like if it works in this particular area that you're trying to interrupt and impact, you can now apply it to some other area of life that you need to also interrupt and do something better, like replace it with something better, replace it with something that's going to have you keep your toes, in your life and so forth like that. So it's like, once it works in one place, it becomes transferable to so many other things as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Doc, you got anything else?
Nope.
You're like, nope. All right. Well, then, that gives us, we got 3 minutes on time. 3 minutes remaining on time. So relationships, are evolving, especially since some places we really outside and some places we somewhat outside, as the world is transitioning to whatever is doing outside. But if there's a topic that you want us to talk about, please let us know what it is that you would like us to dive into, so that we can fill your toolkit as well as probably fill some of ours as well. So we are here on a Friday night with the Sip and Chat each and every Friday. Until next week, I guess we'll catch you later.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Be safe.
Stay safe.
Yes.